Man, if there is one thing that keeps popping up around Baltimore this season, it is that sense of the offense being just a step behind what everyone knows it can be. You watch the Ravens take the field and the defense is flying around. Special teams flipping the field like it is nothing. And then the offense trots out knowing they have to match that same fire. And you can see it on Lamar Jackson's face during these games. He wants that perfection every single snap. When things stall, when the ball is not finding the end zone, it eats at him. Nobody needs to tell him the offense is underperforming because he already feels it before he even gets to the podium, and honestly, it is hard to blame him. These slow starts have been dragging on for a couple of weeks now, and even though wins keep coming, everybody knows that living this way is not sustainable against the elite teams on the schedule. Lamar keeps pointing at execution, plain and simple, no excuses, no pointing fingers. Nothing about injuries or circumstance, just the idea that the offense needs to finish drives, instead of settling for field goals, because eventually those missed opportunities come back around. You could hear the frustration between the lines when he talked about the need to match the energy of the defense. He sees those guys playing out of their minds and wants the offense to give them some breathing room instead of forcing them to hold down the fort for entire halves of football. It is not just Lamar who feels that way. Derrick Henry came out of the game sounding just as blunt. He talked about how the unit was not playing to the standard they believed they should, and how everybody has a piece of the responsibility in fixing it. Tyler Linderbaum has been beating that drum for weeks too, talking about red zone execution and how getting inside the 10-yard line means nothing if you are not punching it in. When you hear leaders saying things like that even after a win, that tells you exactly where the mindset of this group is. They are winning, yes, but they are not satisfied. And that is the best kind of dissatisfaction a team can have. The Ravens are sitting above the 500 mark again, which is solid. But everyone can see the gap between what this offense has been and what it is right now, early in the season. Baltimore was dropping 30 and 40 points like it was routine. And the defense was the phase playing catch-up. Now the script has flipped. The defense is setting the tone every week while the offense grinds and stalls and sputters before finally waking up late. And slow starts might be manageable against struggling teams, but there are opponents coming up who will not offer second chances. That is why Lamar keeps circling back to execution, to trips into the red zone ending in field goals instead of touchdowns. Might not feel like much in the moment, but over the course of a season it becomes a pattern you cannot ignore. And you can see the frustration building not just from lack of production, but from how the rhythm of the offense feels disjointed. Drops were an issue in this game. The run game crawled along. At under 3 yards a carry, Lamar could move the ball a bit, but then drive stalled and they were punting again. If not for Jordan Stout flipping the field like a machine, the pressure on the defense would have been enormous. It is tough when your unit becomes the drag on a team that otherwise looks sharp. Still, it is a team sport, and the attitude in the locker room reflects that. Nobody is pointing fingers. These guys know what the problems are, and they also know they are capable of solving them. John Harbaugh has stood by Lamar through all of this, and honestly, he should. Because even when Lamar is not at his best, he is still out there pulling out wins. Harbaugh said it himself, sometimes it is not pretty, but it is still them finding a way. He believes the flashy games will return, and he might be right. Lamar is still competing his heart out, still battling, still refusing to let the injuries dampen his drive or the standard he sets for himself. He knows he is not playing at 100%. Everybody knows it. You watch him get up slow or move a little gingerly, and you see flashes of what is holding him back, but he never brings it up. He never leans on it as a reason for anything. That is just not who he is. Even defenders who used to be his teammates could see it. Brandon Stevens talked about how the Jets' game plan was to keep Lamar boxed in and limit his mobility, and for the most part, it worked. But when you have watched Lamar for years, you can tell when something is missing. He is not old. He is not declining. He is simply dealing with a stack of injuries that all sit in the exact area of his body he needs most to be the player he is. Hamstring, knee, ankle, all nagging him at once. And he still walks out there knowing the Ravens are better with him playing than with him sitting. It is the kind of competitive streak that does not let him rest, even if resting might actually help him. And the hits keep coming because the offensive line continues to be a roller coaster. One series they are solid. The next series everything collapses at once. You can see the inconsistencies in the way blockers grade out after games. One guy looks sharp in pass protection but gets washed in the run game. Another guy opens lanes on the ground but gets beat like a drum on passing downs. All of that instability adds up. When your quarterback is already playing through pain, it changes the way he steps into throws, the way he escapes pressure, the way he absorbs hits, and yet he keeps going back out there. Keeps trying to find answers for an offense that has not quite found its footing again now. Looking at Lamar out there against the Jets, you could see flashes of the old Lamar Jackson, the one who makes defenders look silly, who escapes chaos like it is nothing and still finds ways to make big plays. But you could also see the limitations, the subtle hesitations, the way he didn't fully accelerate on certain scrambles, or how he held onto the ball a fraction too long because he couldn't push off the way he usually does. It's a nuance, something that only the trained eye or a longtime fan notices. But it tells the story of a quarterback who is still elite, but just a little hindered, carrying minor injuries that add up over the course of a game, and it is that subtlety that makes it impressive how much he still accomplishes. Because even at less than 100%, Lamar is still a top-tier threat to any defense on the field, and the rest of the offense has to pick up the slack. Derrick Henry has shown flashes of brilliance, barreling forward with power that few backs in the league can match, but even he can't do it alone. The Ravens' offensive line has been inconsistent, and when you're running behind a group that can't fully protect or open the lanes on the same play, it puts enormous pressure on both the quarterback and the running back. A play can look perfect in theory, but one missed block, one guy getting washed out of his assignment, and suddenly Lamar is scrambling, Henry is hitting the line without room to run, and the whole drive loses momentum. It's a delicate dance, and the timing has been off for stretches of this season. You can see why Lamar's frustration bubbles to the surface. He is a perfectionist, and he knows the offense is capable of more. What's also fascinating is the mental toughness these guys display. They are not making excuses. They are diagnosing and correcting. Tyler Linderbaum's comments about the red zone highlight that mindset. When you get inside the 10-yard line, touchdowns are mandatory, not optional. That is a standard the team has set for themselves, and it is something they hold each other accountable for. Lamar's insistence on execution over explanation, Henry's blunt acknowledgement of underperformance, Linderbaum's focus on red zone efficiency, they all reflect a culture of accountability. You can see that culture on the field, not just in wins, but in how they approach every snap. They are thinking ahead, considering how one missed block, one dropped pass, or one slow start could affect the momentum of the entire game, and they are determined to prevent that from happening again. The second half of games has been a proving ground. The Ravens have shown resilience, adjusting mid-game to overcome slow starts and put points on the board. Coaches like Todd Monken have made smart adjustments, identifying weaknesses, and leveraging the speed and skill of the receiving cores and running backs. Lamar's vision and decision-making are key in this phase. He can read coverages and react, but it still requires his teammates to execute precisely. When they do, it looks effortless, and when they don't, the frustration is visible, but the willingness to push forward remains. This balance between individual brilliance and team execution is what makes the Ravens a fascinating study week after week. Even with injuries, setbacks, and inconsistencies, the team finds ways to win, which speaks volumes about their character. And while we focus on the offense, it is impossible to ignore how much the defense has improved. The unit that was once chasing the offense is now the anchor, setting the tone and keeping games within reach. It is a complete reversal from the start of the season, and it adds a layer of pressure on the offense to match their intensity. When the defense is flying around, making stops, and forcing turnovers, it is frustrating for the offense to still be struggling. That dynamic creates a narrative where every point, every yard gained, every touchdown scored becomes critical. Lamar, Henry, Linderbaum, and the rest of the offense know that the margin for error is slim. And it's why their focus on execution is so intense. Every snap matters because the team knows what is at stake and what they are capable of achieving. Lamar's leadership goes beyond the X and O's. His work ethic, his drive, his refusal to make excuses, it sets the tone. He is the heartbeat of the team. And his ability to perform, even slightly hindered, motivates the guys around him. The younger players watch, learn, and understand what it means to compete at the highest level. When a game gets messy, when the offensive line falters, or when a receiver drops a ball, Lamar's reaction is not one of blame but of recalibration. He adjusts on the fly, communicates clearly, and keeps the team focused on solutions rather than problems. It is that leadership that allows the Ravens to stay competitive, even when things aren't flowing perfectly. And speaking of flow, the running game remains a puzzle. Henry has the talent, the power, and the vision. But when combined with an inconsistent line and defense is keyed in on stopping him, the efficiency isn't there. Every carry becomes a calculated risk, a test of patience and timing. Lamar helps by keeping defenses honest, moving the pocket, and threatening with his legs. But when his own mobility is slightly limited due to injuries, it complicates everything. The adjustments have to be meticulous, the play calls precise, and the execution near flawless. Even small mistakes can derail drives, and that is the reality of this offense. Yet, despite these challenges, the team continues to find ways to score, continue drives, and ultimately win games. That resilience is what keeps the Ravens competitive in the AFC North, even when the offense isn't operating at full strength. One of the most impressive aspects of Lamar's approach is that he refuses to let injuries define him. He acknowledges them, but he doesn't hide behind them. He doesn't make excuses or suggest he can't perform. He simply plays through it, adapts, and pushes his teammates to do the same. That level of professionalism and dedication is rare, especially in a sport as punishing as football, and it isn't just about avoiding failure. It's about maximizing every opportunity. Even when his hamstring, ankle, or knee slows him down slightly, he is still a focal point for the defense, still a threat to score, still the player the Ravens rely on in critical moments. That mindset has a ripple effect, elevating the entire team's performance, even on nights when things aren't perfect. The second half adjustments, the mental toughness, the leadership, the drive for perfection despite injuries, it all creates a fascinating narrative for the Ravens this season. Fans and analysts alike can see the struggles, the missed opportunities, and the inconsistencies. But there is also a clear pattern of growth, learning, and adaptation. Lamar Jackson remains at the center of that story, battling physical limitations while maintaining the competitive edge that defines him as one of the league's elite quarterbacks. And while the offense has to find its rhythm and consistency, the foundation of talent, leadership, and accountability makes it clear that the Ravens are positioned to overcome these obstacles and continue winning games. Even when the path is challenging, the combination of Lamar's resilience, Derrick Henry's power, the offensive line's flashes of dominance, and the defense's current peak creates a team capable of greatness. And that is exactly what Baltimore is chasing as they move deeper into the season. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Rumors are swirling across the NFL landscape as whispers from insiders suggest a seismic shift in Baltimore's defensive lineup. According to a recent announcement from ESPN, Matthew Judon, one of the league's premier pass rushers, is reportedly set to join the Ravens, while the move has yet to be officially confirmed by team executives. The news has sent shockwaves through fan communities and social media, sparking intense speculation about what this could mean for Baltimore's defensive ambitions. Judon, known for his relentless pursuit off the edge and knack for turning games with timely sacks, would bring an immediate spark to a Ravens defense that has shown flashes of brilliance, but struggled with consistency in recent seasons. Sources close to the situation suggest that negotiations have been swift, with both sides eager to finalize a deal that could redefine the team's pass rushing dynamics. Fans are already imagining the potential havoc he could wreak alongside familiar faces in Baltimore's front seven, picturing opponents' quarterbacks under constant pressure. The NFL rumor mill is buzzing with theories about how this acquisition might impact the Ravens' broader strategy. Some speculate that Judon's arrival could allow the team to rotate their defensive scheme more aggressively, freeing up linebackers and secondary players to make more plays. Others wonder if this move signals a commitment to dominate defensively in the upcoming season, potentially positioning Baltimore as a serious contender. Social media threads are exploding with discussions, some excited, some skeptical, debating whether Judon's style meshes perfectly with the team's identity, even within league circles. Whispers suggest that this could be the start of a flurry of moves designed to bolster the Ravens roster before the trade window closes. Analysts are pointing to Judon's impressive track record, highlighting his ability to shift the momentum of critical games and questioning which offensive lines might struggle the most against him. While nothing is set in stone, The mere mention of JUDON in a Ravens uniform has ignited a frenzy of anticipation, reminding everyone that in the NFL, a single acquisition can change everything overnight. As the rumor continues to circulate, fans and pundits alike are left to imagine the possibilities. Will JUDON's presence finally push the Ravens to a dominant defensive identity? Or is this just another tantalizing story in the ever-evolving drama of professional football? Only time will tell, but for now, the buzz is undeniable. And Baltimore's defensive headlines are hotter than ever. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.